fellow golfers. Mike DeRoe at Fiddler's Creek in Naples, Florida on a beautiful day. My producer Peter has asked me the question, how can I get more club head speed? Speed to this end of the club. And should I try for it, or will my swing fall apart? Those are good questions. Certainly if you try to do more speed with muscular force, it'd be a bad thing. But if you can produce speed through good timing, a couple good moves, and freedom or loose muscles. Loose muscles are fast muscles. If you can do it that way and stay in balance, I would say this. If you're trying to do it, always make sure you're maintaining balance. If you can maintain balance, so what good is more speed if I lose my balance, okay? So if you can swing this smooth and stick your finish. So in Olympics, when they do gymnastics, they stick their finish. Okay, so how can you get more speed? Okay, so here are the parts. Load better, rotate better on the follow through, and do it all looser, freer, and more confidently. Okay, so here we go. Load better. That would be turning your back. You can do drills where you turn your back to the target and a real stable, stacked neutral. What does that all mean? Your hip is over your knee, which is over your instep. Here's a player whose stance is too wide. I can't get to that neutral position. Here's a person whose stance is too narrow. Their hip will go outside of that line. If you're at hip, just outside of your hips, and you turn onto it good, your foot will be flat, your knee will be over your instep, and your hip will be over your knee. And all your hip did is turn about 2 inches. Watch this. So it's real easy. And you never sway, or your hips never go that way. Your hip goes back 2 inches, and you're real stable. Now, if you can get your back to the target, you can't be any better than that. That's A+. Back to the target, stable, neutral pivot point. Okay? The best way to turn. This is hard to move your left shoulder, and by the way, usually you got to push it and your head moves a lot. In fact, you can do a thing when you push your shoulder, your head moves. But watch, when you take your right scapula back, it's called Axis Golf by Eric Kaplan. If you do that, your head stays stiller and you get deeper. Okay, so you're moving your chest and you're getting your right shoulder out of the way. As a camera angle here, watch where my right shoulder goes. You can hardly see it. You're seeing some of my back. Watch this player. My left shoulder came, but there's my right shoulder still sticking there. So getting your back to the target with a good back turn right shoulder. Now you could do all that really well, but if your arms were no good or in weird positions, that wouldn't be good. So you have to turn your body on a stable and then do this. Your arms have to get wide enough. Okay, they have to have some arc width. They don't have to be this wide. That's too stressful. So what you want to achieve is arm width without tension. Okay, some players can get their hands higher than others. They're just more limber. Some players can only get arm width and be this high. So this high, this high, or this high, that's all personal preference. You can still hit a ball longer as long as you get your back to the target on a stable. Now why you want to be stable is so that you can always go the other direction towards the target the same way. If you're off stability, you won't be able to get to your lead leg. Okay, so step 2, once you get loaded with arms wide and no tension, step 2 is to always make a nice move back to your other pip point, neutrality. Okay, that is on your left leg with your knee and your hip over in the line. So come out there. And so you stack this way. Okay, and so that gets you back to the post. They call it into and around this post, this imaginary post. Watch, I get my back to it. Watch me move over to it. By the way, some people push at it, some people pull at it, but you got to get there. You got to get your foot down. You might even feel your heel stomp, your arch go down on the ground, and then around. So you go into and around. So you've got to get around fast. If your hip stops right here, there's a limit to how much centripetal force you can get. Because if your belt buckle and hip stop, the club is going to stop. But if your belt buckle keeps going, the club can keep going. So the one thing I'd like you to know is grab your right thigh, bring it over here in front of your left thigh, and can you kiss your knees? Can you let your heel flip? Now, if you have foot problems, you might not be able to do this. You might only be able to get this far. But this might be farther than you've ever done before. If your hips have never moved at all, getting to here would be an improvement, 25% improvement. But if you can go all the way around, that's even better. Now my belt buckle's all the way. So improve your second move. And how would you do that? Grab your hips. I always tell people this. There's some pistols on my hips. Now watch, turn to the target. So any way you can think that you go, turn to the target. I've always heard the phrase, kissing your knees, okay? If your right knee gets over to your left knee and your thighs are level, that is balance. By the way, that again is balance. So you want to do this with balance. Now, the drills with the arms. This is called the swish drill. With the left arm, I put a whipping stick or an upside down club, so I hold it there in the shaft. Now, I'm going to turn my back and get wide. Look, I'm fairly wide. Now I'm going to put my foot down, and here we go. I'm going to whip my arm, and listen. There it is. Now, notice it went over my shoulder. It got long right there, and now notice what it did. It folded for me. Now, I've asked people to do this whip drill, and I have to really worry now because I had a guy almost hurt his shoulder because he went like this. Ooh, and that arm went way up to the sky and almost pulled his arm out of socket. So make sure before you try to whip that you understand that your arm is going to whip long, but it has to rotate and fold. Okay, the other arm you can get really good at, so that's the left arm swish drill. Hold it one-handed and do it. Now the right arm drill is to learn the best throwing lever you can learn. And pitchers do it in baseball. Tennis players do it in serving. So anything that you're throwing, you need to build the best shape you can. And look at that L shape. Okay, there's my L. So right from there, and I put a finger on my arm because when I do it, I can feel if I squeeze my finger, I've made a V shape, but if it just sits in the crook of my elbow, it's a good shape. And also, when you put your finger there, your shoulders turn with you. If you don't put your finger there, you might just do that. See, I didn't turn, but by putting my finger in my elbow, I always turn with it. Now, from there, you go, I'm going to step and throw. And you go, and I do advise you to put your arm out there, otherwise you might go spin and throw. But when you put your arm out there, you get to throw under the arm. See, this arm is still here? Now, after the whoosh, you can move your arms. So see my arm move after the whoosh, but if you spin beforehand, you go, geez, I could hit it anywhere. Okay, so the swish drills work. And then do this. Remember, you're trying for balance. So now take a club. Now it has a weight. It weighs about 1 pound. Understand that it's a 3-to-1 ratio of timing. In other words, it's 1, 2, 3, whoosh, 5, 6. So to crack a whip, they've proven this. It's called tour tempo. It goes 1, 2, 3, crack, 5, 6. So the crack. Now, well, why I say that is, what if you went back really slow like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you tried to go 1. Hear my voice got weird? It doesn't work. And what if you went really fast back? 1, 2. That doesn't work. So 3-to-1 ratio. So timing is important. So you swing it back wide. 1, 2, 3, whoosh, 5, 6. So you let your arms drop, you let them be free, and you know the exit route. That's a good one. Your arms know that they're going to go drop, rotate and fold over your shoulder. And once they know that, you can stop trying to command them what to do. You can let them go. And the best speed in golf is that speed that you allow, you don't force. So Peter, loosen up, get loaded, and pivot, and you can gain more speed. But try for balance. Put balance as your key on everyone. Good luck to you all.